Many of you all have heard about the GPS selling system, and that is going to be our topic for this evening. And the GPS selling system is something that we had back in the days of United First Financial. It actually comes through a sales module that was very well known back in that time. And we have taken that, and I have to give credit to Miss Heidi Keener. Miss Heidi Keener took it upon herself to take the old GPS system from United First Financial and revamp it to bring it up to date, and then supply it to us so that we can train you all on that GPS selling system. This will be what they call the 101. So I just wanted to say a personal thank you to Miss Heidi Keener, and let's get into the lesson. All right, so the GPS selling system, why do we have a GPS selling system? Well, it gives you a clear path to follow so you don't get lost in the sales process. It also allows you to know where your prospects' head are and how close you are to the sale. It reduces surprises during appointments, and it assists prospects in selling themselves. And I want to rest on that for a second. Assist prospects in selling themselves. See, the goal of the GPS selling system is to get the prospect to say or agree to everything you want to recommend to them. The idea behind this is almost making it their idea to move forward. What you truly want is this, is you want to have them fall into the sale rather than being pushed into the sale. So selling is about change, and people tend to change based on pain or pleasure. Pain, frustration, fear, discomfort of their current reality or future reality, their situation. Pleasure, the hope, or they have the hope, or they can see the vision of the possibilities to change their current or future situation. This is when people typically decide to change, because sales in itself is all about change. So how do we help our prospects to change? People will change when they are aware of frustration with their current situation. They are given a vision for what the future could look like and feel like. They realize that the frustration and vision are greater motivators than maintaining the status quo. In other words, people get to a place where just keeping things the way they are may be more frustrating than moving out into the unknown. But you want to realize that this is human nature 101 that we're showing here on the screen. They're aware of the frustration with their current situation. They are given a vision of what the future could look like and feel like, and they realize that the frustration and vision are greater motivators than maintaining the status quo. It's very important before you go into a sale, before you even start talking to a client, that you establish your mindset. Your mindset should be a positive attitude with excitement. Now, we're not talking about you bouncing off the walls and you're all giddy, but have a smile on your face. Have a positive attitude. Be excited about the information that you're bringing to them, because you are the messenger of life-changing news. You need to believe deep down in yourself, what I have to share can change my client's life forever. You have to also believe what I have to share can financially change generations. Now, here's the piece about the GPS selling system that I love. Your goal in using the GPS selling system is to disqualify prospects, not to qualify them. Your goal is to disqualify them. I heard a gentleman say this. It was Charles Carlton. Again, I'm quoting him a lot. But Charles makes a statement that when you're doing prospecting phone calls, and I don't know if he actually got this from me because I used to say this, but when you're making your phone calls, so many people look at making phone calls, and I'm going to make phone calls until I get 2 yeses. Well, that creates a different mindset. What if you made phone calls till you got 10 no's? See, that changes the perspective of your mindset. If you call till you get 10 no's, the chances are you'll probably get 1 or 2 yeses in there. If your goal is to disqualify prospects, chances are the ones that go through the process are going to be good, solid deals that will stick, and they will go through the process. You all know this little picture here. This is Gollum, for those of you that have never seen Lord of the Rings. And what I really want to emphasize by this screen, your client is primary. Your Clients' needs are primary. This is not your precious sale. And you can't go into a sale with the attitude or the look of, I need this money. I know many of us need money right now, and some of us are getting a little desperate for money, but you cannot allow that desperation to show when you're in front of that client, my precious sale. It's not that. You want to be in this with the heart of a servant to help your clients absolutely the best that you can. So in all cases, please avoid the look of Gollum and my precious sale and looking at your client as a paycheck. Your client is a person just like you. Same feelings, same needs, wants. Take care of your clients. Something Skylar Whitman said to me when I first started working in this business. He said, Mac, if you give people what they truly need, you will get back more than you could ever possibly hope for. And I'm here to tell you, from my 19 years of being with this company, I can absolutely say that is 100% the truth. So pre-appointment, what should you do on your pre-appointment? Well, prior to the appointment, the client must watch the videos on your client replicated website. So send him your website. Make sure you call them first and let them know you're sending the website. Express interest and agree to get their analysis run to see if they qualify for the program. They have to express that interest. You need to, fill that out, kind of filter through that, and make sure they have true interest in running an analysis to see how the program will work. Then fill out the analysis worksheet with accurate information, and make sure you tell your client this. Please fill this worksheet out prior. Junk information in is junk information out. So please, Mr. and Mrs. Client, if you would, go to source documents, pull your most recent statements. We're going to be looking at things like interest rates, balances, minimum monthly payments, terms, everything on this worksheet. When you send them the worksheet and send them the videos, make sure you follow up to see if they have any questions about how to fill out the worksheet. If you're following up on the videos, make sure you ask them this question: what did you like the best? Okay? All right, so fill out that analysis worksheet with accurate information and junk in and junk out and ask them, what did you like the best? All right, so all decision makers need to be present. These are presentations that work and win and get you where you want to go. If meeting in person, my personal statement is present at the kitchen table or a non-distracted location like their office or their study. Make eye contact with them. Don't drill them down, but make eye contact with them. Be relaxed. Be comfortable. Be energetic with them, but not over the top. Just have a nice, pleasant demeanor about you, and know deep down inside what you are bringing to them can change their life, and feel confident in that as well. If meeting over a webinar, just make sure that you're in a quiet place with no distractions. If you have a dog or your cell phone, turn it off, put the dog outside, whatever you need to do. And you want to make sure also that you turn on your video camera, or you have a profile picture of yourself up there so they can see who they're talking to. This interpersonal interaction seems to be a big deal in closing these deals. So I know many of you may not feel comfortable with the webcam. It took me a little while to get comfortable with it. But it really, in giving presentations, it takes it to the next level for the client in being able to personally connect with you. So on your first connection, your first appointment, what are you out there for? Well, the first appointment is to create an emotional connection. There's 3 types of people that we can help. Use the truth funnel and dream building with the client. This is where you're really building on what they're trying to establish. Establish the rules of engagement. We're going to get into these in just a moment. Input the numbers from the analysis worksheet while you're there at the first appointment. Do not do it in advance, because this is your time to build rapport with the client. The analysis worksheet is one of the best ways to build rapport, taking the numbers from the analysis worksheet, putting them into the program, and it makes them revisit the pain, so to speak. Show your own analysis report. If you've done your analysis, show your own report. This, again, brings that connection that you're in this with them. If time permits, demonstrate the program. You have a script in your agent back office. and everyone that is an agent has a demo program, and then set the second appointment and get a commitment on that second appointment, a firm commitment. Okay, so the three types of people that we can help that we just talked about. So this would be you speaking to the client. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I typically find I can help three different types of people. The first that I usually can help is people that are burdened by debt and want to get rid of that debt very quickly. I also have people that want to rapidly create equity in their homes so they can leverage that money out and use it for investment purposes, i.e. stocks, real estate, whatever you want to use it for. And then I have people that are looking to earn extra income. Do any of these sound like you? And let it fall flat and just see what they say. They will come back and probably pick one of those three as the item, and then that's how you want to write down what their response was to this, because that's something you're going to revisit later if you need to have some qualifiers and tie downs to close the deal. So do any of these sound like you? We're going to say, yes, our client said it sounds like me, I'm burdened with debt, or I'm looking to earn extra income. Okay, so what you're really trying to do here is create this emotional connection. So after you've asked that question, this is where you listen and let them talk. And so you just ask very pointed questions, and I've got quite a few up here. What about that appeals to you? Can you be more specific? See, what you're trying to do is get them talking. If you can get someone talking, if you can get them talking comfortably with you and really relating to you, they are going to give you the keys to the vault. They will give you every single answer you need story of a young lady that was going through the analysis, and she had charged up like $40,000 on a credit card that her husband did not know about. And so when she was asked the question, how is this affecting you personally? How does this situation make you feel? She came back and said, I feel like I've cheated on him, like I've done something dishonest. And that's a hard thing to cope with if you're an individual, knowing that you're trying to hide this balance on a credit card from that individual. Why do you suppose what you have tried hasn't worked so far? What would your life be like if you didn't have any debt? What would you do differently? Have you considered just leaving things the way they are instead of addressing the issue? What would happen if I could not help you, and why now? That what would happen if I could not help you, going back to that story of the young lady with $40,000 of credit card debt, her response was, if you can't help me, my marriage may be in serious jeopardy. So I need to find a way, and that was her why now. Now, why are you asking these questions over and above creating an emotional connection? Well, there's a deeper reason, because now what we know is the problem, the need, or the goal coming from the client, the reason why this has not been solved in the past, the impact to the client personally, and the consequences if nothing changes. So the consequences questions for you. Typically, I take a financial snapshot so I can get a picture of who you are. Some questions might be personal. What is your home worth, interest rates, et cetera, et cetera. Would that be okay with you? And wait for their response. We're just going to assume they said yes, that's perfectly fine. The purpose of this meeting, the purpose of the first meeting is simply to determine if we should have a second meeting. Do you see how that takes the pressure off right out of the gate? The purpose of the first meeting is just to see if we need a second meeting. Okay, so the pressure is off now. They're under the impression they're not going to be sold anything right now. So number of meetings you need to address with them as well. And this comes in this way. You might discover before that I do that a second meeting isn't necessary. If that is the case, will you be candid enough to tell me? On the other hand, if I discover that I can't help you, I will be very candid with you and let you know. Fair enough? Generally, this process takes 2, sometimes 3 meetings. Is that okay with you? We're going to say that they said yes. What you're doing is you're showing them that you have a process from beginning to end. When you go to a mortgage company to get a refinance, they have a process from beginning to end. If they ask you for stipulations or documents and you don't send them, the deal is dead. Same thing with insurance, same thing with just about anything that you purchase. So what you're doing is you're letting them know, I have a process that I'm going to go through. It's a successful process. It brings you to an understanding of the product. I just want to make sure you're willing to go through that process with me. So in this establishing the rules of engagement, you always also want to tell them, how do we end our relationship? By the end of that time, most of my clients, the first and second appointment, most of my clients either look at me and say, no, this is not for me, which, by the way, is perfectly okay with me. I'll just close your file and move on. On the other hand, should you say, yes, this program is for me, then we will go ahead with the necessary paperwork. If we need a third meeting, and by the end of the third meeting, you still have to think about it, I can assure you this program is not for you. So please just tell me no outright, okay? They say, okay, all right, let's get started. What are you doing here? You are taking away all of the pressure. They can tell you no if they want to. This appointment is not for the purposes of selling. It's just to find out if we need a second appointment. So the pressure's off now. Now you can be comfortable. You can be relaxed, and so can the client. And now you can move through that rapport building with that client. All right, so in establishing the rules of engagement, we want a clear yes or no by the end of 3 meetings. If they cannot make a decision by then, in my opinion, and most people's in the field, then that's a no. Now, remember, you're not telling the client here. I'm summarizing for you. I need to think about it, are time-wasting false objections, and is the most highly destructive phrase a salesperson can hear. We do not lie awake in bed wondering about our prospects, and we know when to celebrate new clients and when to move on from disqualified prospects. You know, I know it's aggravating when you go out and you do a presentation. You know you did a great job. You got all the information. They're going to save $185,000, and they tell you they have to think about it. I will tell you this. Following this process, the rules of engagement being a very important part of this process is integral to you being able to move from beginning to end and close. On the wall, probably somebody in the house fishes. If you see a gun cabinet and stuffed animals, they probably hunt. Get into their world and find out who they are. Listen to their comments and questions. Oftentimes, these are precursors to objections that will come up later if left unaddressed. Take notes on these, but do not address them yet. And I'm going to go right back and say you'll be tempted to show the analysis results on the first appointment Don't. Here's why. Number one, avoid embarrassing errors. So let's say you go to show the analysis and you get a server error because you put in something wrong. Now, I will tell you this. When you're at that appointment, before, if you're sitting in person or you're a web conference, if you're in person and you've input all the numbers, just turn the computer away from the client and just say, hey, I need to look through a couple of things, dot the I's and cross the T's. If you want to go ahead and take a bio break or take just a moment, let me just look through this, make sure I have everything I need. When they are not looking at the screen, make sure it produces an analysis. Could you give me a little bit more information on that? If you need to do that, do it in the first appointment, but do not show them the analysis results. Showing your analysis is a good way to go as well if you've done your own analysis. It's that whole idea of the law of reciprocity, personal credibility, that you're actually on the program, law of reciprocity, show me yours, I'll show you mine. And it builds curiosity in the client when they see this and they see what kind of safety them through a good detailed demo that shows them the functionality. And if I'm on a web conference or in person, I turn the controls over to the client and tell them what to put in through the program so they see how easy that is. Show a few key points and features. You have a script in your agent back office. Address the potential objections from earlier. When you're in there doing the demo, you talked about this. How does it address commission incomes? How does it address, if I'm paid biweekly, semi-monthly? How does it address if, I'm just starting out on a brand new loan and I'm making interest-only payments, or I have a balloon loan? Address these issues while you're going through the demo. Address the potential objections from earlier, and this is what they are buying. So build excitement. Say things like, isn't that cool? How much time would you have to spend sitting at a computer to get the information back you just got from the program in a matter of one little simple data entry? When you show the functionality of the program, what you're really showing is the ease of operation of the program, and you want to draw attention to things like the funds transfers, and you want to draw attention to true cost, and add new accounts so you can ask the program a question. You want to build this up that this program is doing things for you that you could not do on your own. Set the second appointment and get a commitment. Give them two options for the next meeting. Now, if you go into your agent back office, you'll see that there is a presentation called Setting the Appointment in Stone, and that's under the news section of your agent back office. But the whole concept there is give them two options. Only give them two options at a time, and most people will select one. So when would be a good time for you? I have openings Tuesday at 5 or Thursday at 12 noon. So they give you one of those, or maybe they say neither one of those works. Give them two more options. Okay, I have Wednesday at 2 p.m. and I have Thursday at 3 p.m. Which one of those works for you? Always give them two options. Never give them three, never give them four. Never say, when would you like to meet? When would be good for your schedule? Give them something to choose when you're doing this. So get a definite confirmation from the customer and make sure all parties will be present for that second appointment. Now, when we say make sure all parties will be present, there is no point in doing a one-legged appointment, because that always gives them an out to say, I need to confer with my significant other, I need to confer with my wife, I need to confer with my mechanic, whatever that looks like. But just make sure that you have a firm commitment on that. And then prior to your appointment, make sure you call them up and say, hey, our appointment's, in an hour, and I just want to make sure everything's good and I'm on my way. and everybody will be there that needs to be there. Okay? Now, this is a really cool little piece, and this is you're wrapping up that first appointment, and you set that second appointment. You've got a good confirmation. It's in your planner calendar. It's in their planner and calendar. This is what they call a doorknob close. I want you to understand what this is. It's a true closing technique. It's called a doorknob close. Now, remember I told you that before you leave that first appointment, you want to make sure that it generates an analysis. Do not share the analysis with the client, but look down at the analysis and see how much time they're going to save and how much interest they're going to save, and then throw out a statement that fits in there, something like this. Oh yeah, by the way, if I can knock, let's say, 5 years off of your debt and save you, I don't know, $50,000 in interest, would there be any reason you would not want to do business with me other than price, of course? And wait for an answer. Every time you ask a question, go silent. And there's an old saying that says the next person that talks loses. Well, if you're the next person that talks, yeah, you're losing. If they're the next person that talks, they're winning. And you're winning. So that doorknob close is very effective. It should always be said at the end of that first appointment. Oh, yeah, but so look at their analysis. If they're saving 10 years and $100,000, this statement fits. If they're saving 6 years and saving $60,000, this fits. Now, if they are not saving 5 years and they are not saving $50,000 of interest, you want to tailor that. You know, if I could save you 3 years and save you $30,000 of interest. What you're doing is you're leaving a question in their mind, and you're also confirming, look, if I could save you this much money, if I could show you the benefit of the program, would there be any reason you wouldn't do business? And their answer at that time should be no. Okay, so between the first and second appointment, what do? You email them the client presentation. You can do it from your agent back office, send them your replicated site. Send them whatever you want to send in the way of a video that's a little bit more detailed. Send them a note that says, please watch this video prior to our next appointment so our next meeting will be as valuable as possible. This will ensure that we are coming from the same base and can spend our time focusing on the specifics of your particular situation. In that email, make sure you include appointment details, including webinar information, if you're meeting online or if you're meeting in person, where you're meeting, date, time. Always, if you're sending in an email, put at the base of it, please respond to this email so I know you received it. How many emails do you get in your email box that you never respond to? So make sure you place that in that email. Okay, so on the second appointment, what is it that we're going to do on that second appointment? Well, the first thing we're going to do on that second appointment is review our rules of engagement from our first appointment. The second thing we're going to do is confirm that the analysis numbers are accurate from the last appointment. So when you're sitting down to that second appointment, there is a purpose for doing that, confirming that the analysis numbers are accurate from the last appointment. One is obviously to make sure that nothing has changed in their situation. But the second is it kind of reopens the wound for the client. It makes them look at their current financial situation, go down item by item. So you owe this much on your car, you owe this much on the credit card, you owe this much on the house, this much on the other credit card, this much on the student loan. Make them feel the pain. And if you did not have an opportunity to demonstrate the program, demonstrate it for them on the second appointment if that is necessary. That would be if you get down, show them the results, everything is good, and they just say, you know what, I need to think about it, or I have difficulty getting this together. That would be a great time to show them a demo of the program, to show them the functionality. Show the live presentation. What I mean by that is the slides from the analysis report. So, you know, when you do an analysis report, you have a slide presentation that you can go through with the client. I suggest you go through each slide and explain, and then close the sale with a scale of 1 to 10. And I'll give you that in just a moment. Show the analysis report if needed. Okay, if you show the live presentation, it's going to go through how much money they save. It's going to go through their current situation. It's going to go through how much time they save. If you need to show them the analysis report after that, feel free to show it to them. Now, this is something that I do. Many clients will say, can I have a copy of that report? Well, if they buy the program, yes. they can have a copy of the report. If they do not buy the program, I would not suggest you giving them a copy of the report. That is your information that you have compiled. You don't know how many deals have come back 6 months later, a year later, where people said, no, I have to think about it. I need to confer. I need to get some things square in my own house before I do this. Deals will come back from the strangest places. And if you've already given them the analysis report, I can tell you two things. One, they have no reason to call you back. And two, they're going to talk to everybody they know and show them that analysis report. And if somebody else can't make sense of it, then your deal is absolutely done. So do not give up the analysis report unless they purchase the program. Rules to review of engagement. So in reviewing these rules on the second appointment, are there any questions that have arisen since we were last together? Write down the questions. Make sure you write them down. Great. I'll answer those questions as we go along. As you probably remember from our last meeting, I tend to ask a lot of questions. Are you still comfortable with this? And hopefully they will say yes. And then you ask that closing question. Do you remember saying at our last meeting that if we could save you 5 years or $50,000 of interest on your debts, that there was not any reason you wouldn't want to do business with me? Has anything changed in that regard? And what you're looking for is, yes, I remember, and no, nothing has changed. All right, so we're going to move into the next section and say, perfect. How about we do this today? Let's review the information gathered last time to make sure it's all correct and that we are all still on the same page. Then I can talk to you about how this program will work and how it will help you reach the goals that you and I have discussed, your goals ABC, XYZ, 1, 2, 3. Use the answers from the truth funnel that you went through with them when you kept asking them why and why and why is that and why would it be bad for you. You really want to drill down deep and use those questions. Along the way, I'll answer all of the questions you just raised. Would that be a fair game plan for today's meeting? So this is the beginning of your second appointment. You're making sure that you're establishing those rules of engagement and you're looking for yeses all the way through. Oh, by the way, if I start going in the wrong direction or see the program is not for you, I hope you will be candid enough to tell me right away, okay? Yes. Likewise, if I think you are doing something that won't benefit you, I'm going to be candid with you as well. Is that fair enough? And you're looking for a yes there as well. See, there's another thing in sales as well. What you're doing is you're getting them saying yes. You're getting them agreeable with you moving forward in the process. So what you're telling them again is it's okay to tell me no. It's okay to redirect me. It's okay to re-steer me. We're going to go over the results, but really, in all actuality, I am here to serve you. Usually by the end of this meeting or the next, my clients are in a position to tell me whether or not this program is right for them or not. If it's not, again, I hope you will be candid. I'm really okay with people telling me no. On the other hand, if the plan is right for you, we'll go ahead and do the paperwork. I want you to know that if we need another meeting after today, that's perfectly okay with me. Do you see any reason why we cannot get a clear no or yes by the end of our next meeting? You notice that no is in the front, okay? You're asking, is there any reason we couldn't get a clear no or yes first by the end of this meeting? And you're looking for them to say, no, I don't see any reason why we couldn't get a clear yes or no. Okay, great. Let's get started on that. All right. Confirm the numbers. This is the information that gets loaded into their program they buy and also determines their pricing. So please make sure the numbers are accurate. When they go through the setup wizard, what you have in the analysis is what will get auto-populated to their program. So make sure you review these and that the numbers are accurate and nothing has changed in the situation. If you have the chance to demo the program, go ahead and demo the program. But where you're really going to show them their results is through that live presentation slideshow. Use the auto-populated slides in the analysis. Take time to explain each one. reopen the wound so that they feel the pain of their situation, and proactively eliminate the price objection as we go along. How would you do that? Well, you could talk to them about if they did a refinance. They may not think they paid anything in fees, but everybody pays fees in refinance. Just position this in a way that, what would something like this be worth to you? I'm saving you $185,000 and I'm taking 15 years off your mortgage. What would something like that be worth to you? Or if you tell them what the price is and they say that too much, ask them, well, what do you think would be a reasonable price for what it is that we're doing for you? Okay, so close with a scale of 1 to 10. Whenever you feel you're not sure about what your client is thinking, take their temperature. So this isn't just a closing technique. This could be you're in that first appointment talking to them and you're not getting clear answers. You'll get a lot more information and guidance from them. In many cases, your clients will actually tell you how they want to be sold and what you need to do in order to sell them. So Mr. and Mrs. Jones, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 meaning this is simply not for you, and 10 meaning that it's a great fit and plan, where do you stand? That's a great way to close, but you could do that in the earlier. We were talking about if you didn't get this corrected, what that would mean for you on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 means nothing. 10 is absolutely imperative. How important is it for you to clear up this debt in a timely manner? Throughout this entire process, throughout these questions, you cannot be just clinical. You have to be affable. You have to be personable. You have to be smiling. You have to be professional in your dress, your attitude, your appearance, your language. I don't care if the client starts cussing at the table. I don't care if they start using all types of weird little phrases and things like that. You stay professional. You look professional. You keep your business professional, and everyone will benefit from that. So if the prospect says less than 5, back away from the sale and assume that there will be too many obstacles to overcome with such a low evaluation. But what you can do is a good way to try to save it. Oh, with such a low number, I get the feeling you really have no interest. Is that a fair statement? Then find out what they would have had to see or hear to get the number higher. Okay, ask them, and ask them this way. This is my job. I support my family with this business, and just like you, I want to get better at my job. What would you have had to have seen or heard in order to move forward? Where did I lose you? And then listen, because whether you realize it or not, this may be the end of the second appointment, but you just reopened the sale. What you did was, help me do better. I want to do better at this, and most people want to help. Help me do better. What would I have needed to have shown you or explained to you, or what would you have needed to seen, or what was your impression that it should have been that it wasn't? The sale is back on. You have their time. You have their attention at that point. If the prospect says a 5 or 7, show them their analysis report and then take the temperature again. If the client isn't ready to do paperwork or they are still interested, ask them what they need to see to get to be a 10, then set up a third appointment. Okay? At the end of the third appointment, they still aren't ready to do paperwork, then say, remember when we talked about taking up to 3 meetings to decide if this was for you? Do you really want to set a 4th appointment, or shall we shake hands and just part as friends? This is a technique called a takeaway. You're basically just taking it away. And then see how they respond and then move from there. You have to be a little bit organic when you are closing deals. Close the sale on a 1 to 10. If the prospect says 8 to 10, let me tell you what they think is the next. Let them tell you what they think the next step is. So you'd say something like, generally, most of my clients who say they are an 8 or a 10 are ready to move forward. So what do you think we should do next? I like saying generally most of my clients that are an 8 or a 10 are ready to start moving forward. Are you ready to start receiving your interest savings today? Are you ready to start the program today? Are you ready to get out from the bondage of slavery of debt today? Or you could ask them, what do you think the next step should be? And they may very well say, let's move forward. Let's get this done. That does open the door a little bit sometimes for them to say, well, you know, now that I'm sitting here, I need to think about it. Then you go back to the questions asking what was it you would have needed to see or hear to make you a firm 10, not an 8 to 10. Okay? So every step of the way, you want to take their temperature, you want to qualify them, you want to stay engaged with them, you want to take notes, you want to make sure that you're referring back to things they've said. If you truly want to impress them, come back on the second appointment, know their kid's name, the dog's name, know what they do as an activity or a sport or what they do to relieve tension. What they do for a job. Get personally vested in these people and find out who you're dealing with, and it will without a doubt change the entire format. So know that with this system, we're looking to disqualify people. We always say the word no before the word yes. In the first appointment, we tell them flat out, we are not here for you to make a decision today. We are here just simply to go over the numbers and get the information we need to run an analysis. Your rules of engagement tell them exactly what process you're going to take them through and how many meetings it's going to take to get through the process. Follow this to the letter. If they say, yes, I'm ready to go, great. Complete the shopping cart, do the payment, help them create their username and password, help them schedule a coaching session, and confirm the receipt of emails for their user information to be able to access the program. Let them know that you will be there to follow them through the program. And if they have any questions, that our support team is there from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday to help. But if they have an immediate question they need answered and can't seem to get the answer, please feel free to call you, and you will be more than glad to answer any question that they have about the program. The GPS selling system we have found is the best selling system that we have come across. I know that a few people that are using the selling system ran runs as high as 98% close rate on almost 35 deals. So this is not speculation. This is not theory. This is not something we have taken out of a book. This is what we absolutely know will work if you're a certified field trainer. And then just a little caveat here. If you are brand new, you have to do 2 field training sales. My suggestion would be assign a trainer as soon as you possibly can, get him some names and numbers so you all can make phone calls together and start setting appointments. When he has his appointments or she has the appointments for you, make sure you get on the line as a silent observer so you can hear everything that they are saying. And then after the call is over, get with them and critique and ask them questions on things maybe you didn't understand, or why didn't they go into this area. Make sure you're absolutely on that second appointment as well. The 101 is truly used when you're closing a sale, and if you're brand new to the company, you cannot close your own sales until after your first 2 training sales. But it'd be a very good idea for you to get up on this system, understand how it operates and what you're looking to do when you're going to have to make a personal sale on your own. But in the interim, get with your certified field trainer, listen to the calls, see if they're following the GPS system, and have a phone call after each one of those meetings to kind of critique it and stay on your certified trainer's side. We all know the program works, and we know that this selling system works. So we want to say to you all out there, get engaged, get excited. We have a lot that is coming down the road that you all cannot even imagine. If you're still sitting on the fence in the library reading how to do this program, that is not going to serve you. You need to get a name list. You need to get a certified trainer. You need to share that, start making phone calls, start setting appointments, and start building your business. I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening for the United Financial Freedom Agent Update Call and our training lesson on the GPS Selling System 101. I want everybody to get out there and have a great time doing this. Have fun. Let's get out there and do it big. Let's get out there and do it right. But at the very least, let's get out there and do something right now. This is Max Saunders saying bye-bye for now.